Welcome to the deep dive. You know, we love to take those universal, sometimes complex things.
Things no one really wants to talk about.
Exactly. And we try to make them approachable, actionable, and I think this is key, completely judgment-free.
Mm-hmm.
And today we are wading into a subject that, well, it touches nearly every single long-term relationship. We're talking about intimacy.
Specifically, why that initial spark often seems to fade.
Right. It dies down. And more importantly, what you can actually do to reignite it.
It's a really important deep dive, and our sources today give us this fantastic shortcut to understanding the mechanics behind these issues.
So what are we looking at?
We've extracted insights from 4 separate consultations with a really brilliant sexual health expert, a Dr. Jack.
Okay.
And these sessions, they cover a whole spectrum of issues impacting people, individuals, and couples from their early 30s right through to their early 40s.
And the issues are, I mean, the classics, right?
Mhm.
Low desire, performance anxiety.
Faked pleasure, yeah. The deep rut of routine, all of it.
So our mission today is pretty simple. We want to show that these problems are almost never about a failure of love or, a lack of attraction.
Not at all. They are predictable biological and psychological responses to stress, to routine, and just the sheer difficulty of modern life.
And we need to say this right up front. If you, listening right now, recognize yourself or your partner in any of this.
You are completely normal.
Completely.
Yeah.
These issues are so common and, crucially, they are extremely treatable.
We're basically unpacking the deep science behind why, as Dr. Jack put it to one patient, autopilot is the enemy of passion.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. And that simple phrase, it's the key to everything we're going to talk about.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Let's use the first case we have. This is Emily. She's 32, 5 years into a really stable relationship, but she feels disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
She described her intimate life as being deeply, almost painfully predictable. Her words were always the same, takes maybe 10 minutes, no surprises.
And the result of that,
She actually feels annoyed when her partner initiates.
that feeling of annoyance, which, by the way, generates a huge amount of guilt for people. That's the first major warning sign. Her brain is it's desensitized.
It's bored.
It is. And Dr. Jack's analysis here hits on this crucial psychological mechanism. Stability and predictability, they're wonderful for building a life together.
Of course, that's the goal, right? Safety, security.
And this is the paradox, they are scientifically damaging for desire.
Okay, hold on. That sounds contradictory.
Uh-huh.
How can you have that healthy, loving foundation,
Mm-hmm.
but also the novelty and tension that desire seems to need?
That is the core challenge of long-term intimacy. Desire, eroticism, arousal. They thrive on a very specific cocktail of psychological ingredients.
We're trying.
Novelty, tension, contrast, and anticipation. When Emily can predict every single touch, every move, every outcome, her brain just doesn't bother switching into arousal mode.
Why would it?
Why expend the energy? It already knows the script.
So her body is basically saying, I know how this movie ends. I'll just wait for the credits to roll.
That is a perfect way to put it. We confuse routine comfort with erotic connection. And then you add stress on top of that.
Right, because Emily's also constantly worried about work deadlines.
So low desire, especially for women, often becomes this kind of neurological traffic jam.
She's in work mode,
Yeah.
and there's just no room for erotic thought.
Precisely. When your brain is flooded with cortisol from chronic stress, you're in survival mode. And the mind, which is the body's biggest sexual organ, it has zero mental bandwidth left for pleasure.
So it's not just physical.
Not at all. Many women need that psychological buildup, that emotional foreplay, which is mental and verbal, not just physical touch. If you're too stressed to even think about sex, you'll never feel physically receptive.
So if you're listening and you recognize that feeling, that boredom or slight annoyance, what is the right way to bring that up without, just crushing your partner's ego?
Yeah, you can't just say, I'm bored.
Right. Emily knew that was a terrible idea.
Dr. Jack offered this fantastic reframing technique. You have to shift from criticism to a shared invitation.
An invitation.
Instead of saying, you bore me, you frame it as a desire for growth together. Something like, I want us to explore more together. I miss feeling excited with you. I want us to grow in this area.
Ah, okay. So it's not about blame. It's us language.
Exactly. It focuses on a shared future experience. It's really hard to get defensive when your partner is essentially saying they want more connection with you.
And that desire deficit, it led Emily to her second issue, which is I mean, this is a deeply vulnerable thing,
Sure.
the long-term habit of faking orgasms.
And this is where the source material provided a truly eye-opening statistic that just needs to be normalized.
What was it?
The research they cited shows that this isn't a sexual failing, it's a biological reality. The studies consistently show that 60 to 70% of women,
60 to 70.
yeah, 60 to 70% do not reach orgasm through penetration alone.
Wow. That is a massive gap between what we see in movies and, the biological reality.
It's huge, and it completely explains the psychological drive to fake it.
So what are those main drivers? What did Dr. Jack identify?
There are three, and they usually come from a place of kindness, actually. The first is simply the pressure to validate their partner's effort,
To protect their ego.
to make them feel good about their performance, exactly. The second is a fear of disappointment or being labeled difficult or high maintenance.
Because society implies it should just happen instantly.
And the third driver ties right back to Emily's stress and routine problem. Just difficulty staying mentally present.
The mind is somewhere else entirely.
Yes. If your mind is anxious, or you're thinking about your to-do list, or even just focusing on your partner's experience instead of your own, it is neurologically impossible to reach climax.
So faking it feels like a solution in the moment.
It's a short-term protective act, but the long-term cost is immense. Your partner learns all the wrong things about your body.
And you disconnect from your own real desire.
Completely. And then resentment starts to build. You've basically lied yourself into a corner.
So the solution isn't about better physical technique from the partner necessarily. It's about a mindset shift for the woman herself.
Precisely. The key is shifting from performance mode, where the goal is a specific verifiable outcome, an orgasm, to experience mode.
Experience mode.
Where the only goal is shared sensation, pleasure, and connection, regardless of the end result. It just takes so much pressure off.
So again, communication is the bridge.
Yeah.
How does someone like Emily tell her partner, hey, I've been faking this for years without, blowing up the relationship?
It takes a lot of courage, but it has to be framed positively. The goal isn't a confession, it's about future discovery.
So what would that sound like?
Something like, I really want to slow things down sometimes. I want us to focus only on what feels good for me right in the moment. I want to rediscover this, and I need your help to just slow everything down.
So you're making them a partner in the exploration, not the target of the problem.
Exactly. It's about partnership.
Okay, so if stress is the enemy of female desire, like we saw with Emily, let's shift to the male experience. Because stress shows up in a completely different, but just as powerful performance trap. We're talking about the case of the 35-year-old male patient. He's dealing with acquired premature ejaculation. So it's gotten worse over time sometimes, happening in less than a minute.
And this issue is just shrouded in so much shame. It's so important to state this up front. This is extremely common.
And what was Dr. Jack's diagnosis?
It's crucial. He said this is a reflex problem, not a moral failure. And it's definitely not a sign of low attraction.
He broke down the causes.
Yeah,
right?
he did. 70% psychological, 20% physiological, and about 10% lifestyle.
Okay, that's 70%. That's the overwhelming factor.
Right.
So let's do a deep dive there. It's all about nervous system conditioning.
It is entirely about conditioning. For so many men in their 30s and 40s, the nervous system has been trained for immediate speed.
By what?
By years of fast, high speed, and often porn-based masturbation, the brain learns a lightning-quick reflex. Sex equals finish fast.
So it trains the whole system to go from 0 to 100 instantly.
Exactly. The system just fires without the necessary control mechanisms ever being developed.
And then performance anxiety just throws gasoline on that fire.
Oh, absolutely. The moment he perceives pressure or worries about failing, that anxiety activates the sympathetic nervous system.
Fight or flight.
It puts the body into fight or flight. Biologically, the body releases adrenaline and cortisol, which actually accelerates ejaculation. It's a mechanism to escape danger.
Wow. So he's essentially having sex while in a state of high stress and fear, not deep arousal.
That's it. It's an ancient biological response meeting modern emotional pressure.
So what does the retraining plan look like? Because you can't just tell someone to slow down.
No, it requires a radical reconditioning. The core treatment is what Dr. Jack called the 30-day sexual nervous system reset.
What does that entail?
It means dramatically reducing or even eliminating any high-speed, quick sessions or anything involving high-stimulus imagery. If you do masturbate, it has to be extremely slow. The focus has to be on sensation and control, not speed or outcome.
And physically, Dr. Jack mentioned pelvic floor retraining. which sounds counterintuitive. You'd think the issue is weakness.
That's the subtlety that so many people miss. Often, the pelvic floor muscles are actually overactive. They're tense, they're contracted, which speeds everything up.
So they don't need strengthening.
They need relaxation. The solution is breath work and what are called reverse Kegels. Learning to fully release and relax those muscles, even pushing slightly outward instead of clenching.
That's a really practical piece of advice.
Yes.
So for the partner, what's their role when the goal is control, not climax?
They need to understand the dynamic. High attraction plus high anxiety equals low control. The anxiety is the problem, not a lack of desire.
So what can they do practically?
They can help by encouraging the use of condoms, which can reduce sensitivity by, say, 20 to 30%. And critically, they can remove the goal of orgasm from some encounters entirely.
Take the pressure off.
Once the pressure is off, that sympathetic nervous system starts to quiet down.
Let's turn now to Laura. She's a 42-year-old patient. She's experiencing decreased desire, vaginal dryness, and pain during intercourse. And this is a huge area because it's so often dismissed as just, getting old.
Which is so reductive and unhelpful. This is a textbook hormonal transition. It's often early perimenopause, even if her periods are still relatively regular.
And the physical symptoms are all coming from hormones.
They're caused by fluctuating and declining estrogen levels. As estrogen drops, the vaginal tissue, the mucosa, it becomes thinner, less elastic, and much less naturally lubricated.
Laura described the pain as feeling like burning or friction at the entrance. I mean, that description alone would be enough to shut down desire in anyone.
Of course it would. The brain is programmed to avoid pain, so if sex hurts, the desire switch is instantly flipped to off. But the fantastic news here is that the physical symptoms are highly treatable.
Okay, so what did Dr. Jack recommend for treatment?
For the physical side, the gold standard is local estrogen therapy. These are very low-dose creams or tablets that are inserted locally.
And because they're local, the risk is lower.
Exactly. The dose is low, it's absorbed right where it's needed, so the systemic risks are minimal. And this can quickly restore elasticity and moisture, but that has to be paired with a high-quality, silicone-based lubricant to deal with the friction immediately.
And what about the psychological side of this? I imagine confidence and just acceptance play a huge role when your body starts to change like this.
Confidence is absolutely key, but the main cognitive shift is recognizing that what worked for you at 25 doesn't work at 40. It's just different.
So you need more time, more foreplay.
More time, more focused foreplay, often completely different stimulation patterns. We have to stop calling this losing your sexuality and start calling it an evolving sexuality.
It's an evolution, not a loss.
And that evolution requires a woman to relearn her own body and then communicate those new needs very clearly.
Okay, so we've covered 4 patients. Different ages, different genders, really different problems on the surface. But all 4 of their treatment plans, they shared a core fundamental strategy.
I did.
What is that universal prescription for fixing the spark across all of these scenarios?
The universal solution is breaking the pressure cycle. That's the common thread running through Emily's faked orgasms, the man's performance anxiety, and Laura's pain-driven desire shutdown.
And the main tool for that?
The primary tool is something called sensate focus exercises.
Let's dive into that. What does that actually involve? What is sensate focus?
It involves scheduling time for non-sexual physical connection. Things like cuddling, massage, or just light touching. But there is one single non-negotiable rule.
Which is?
There is no goal of penetration or orgasm. The goal is simply sensation and presence.
So you're retraining the body.
You're retraining the body and the mind to associate physical touch with pleasure, safety, and connection, rather than the immense pressure of performance. It just takes that entire performance element out of the bedroom.
That makes perfect sense. It's like hitting the reset button on your nervous system's entire understanding of touch. So beyond those dedicated exercises, what are the key actionable takeaways that apply across all 4 of these cases?
Okay, so 3 big ones. First, lifestyle matters. You have to reduce nervous system disruptors, high caffeine, alcohol, vaping, and you have to prioritize sleep and stress management.
It always comes back to sleep and stress.
It does. Chronic cortisol and poor sleep directly impact the neurotransmitters that govern control and libido. You just can't expect a high-performing engine if the driver is running on fumes.
Okay, number 2.
Focus on presence, not performance. This is the internal mantra. Intimacy has to shift from feeling like a test you need to pass or a task to complete to simply being an experience to share and be present in.
And the 3rd.
The third, and maybe the most important, is self-discovery. And this applies equally to men with PE and women with low desire. Before you can fix things with a partner, you have to reconnect with your own body and your own pleasure.
What did Dr. Jack say about that?
He often told his patients, if you don't explore your own pleasure map, you cannot effectively guide your partner to it. Understanding your own needs is the absolute necessary first step.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive. I mean, we've gotten into the real vulnerability of human connection here.
We have.
And what we've learned is that intimacy issues are rarely simple.
Yeah.
They're this complex reflection of hormones, emotions, stress, physical health, and communication, all woven together.
But the powerful takeaway is that when you view them as system issues, not personal failings, they are so treatable.
Indeed.
And to leave you with one final thought, something that really synthesizes all of these sessions, just remember Dr. Jack's philosophy.
What was it?
Desire is not a permanent flame. It's something you cultivate like a muscle. If you stop intentional effort, atrophy sets in. So if you, listening right now, want to start cultivating that muscle this week, maybe just ask yourself one thing.
Okay.
What intentional non-sexual habit can you start this week to just nourish the connection in your relationship?
Knowing that the emotional non-sexual touch
is one of the most powerful, non-pressured ingredients of desire.
a perfect thought to end on. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us. We'll catch you next time.